that phase of my life was, I mean, I guess the easiest word to use was very dark and discouraging, right? uh, as I said, we were pretty clueless, in a couple of days, as to what to do.
Guys, welcome to the We Transform Show, a show where we meet real life transformers and know their stories in the first person because we believe we all can transform and there is no right or wrong time for transformation. Today, our guest is Mr. Arindam Chandra, who is joining us from Bangalore. Arindam is the founder and CEO of Eventscape Live, and he has 10 years of entrepreneurial experience. He comes with 22 years of enriching experience with companies like HP and Intel. There is some amazing twist in his story, and I would like to know from Arindam. And ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Arindam to the show. Arindam, welcome to the show today.
Thank you, Alok, for inviting me. Thank you so much.
And I look at your journey, I think I find it very, very inspiring, and you do some very amazing work. I really want to know about your current project, but we'll reach there a little later. So, guys, me and Arindam go some time back in the past where we were connected. When I was in Bangalore, Arindam was kind enough to help me a lot in building up the business. In fact, he went all the way ahead to offer me some space in his office to start the business I was trying to build at that time. So thank you, Arindam, for being so kind. And I have really wanted to tell you a story, so that's how we are here today.
Great experience for us hosting you as well. I think there are a lot of things that both Rima and I have learned from you. I think the way you facilitate a lot of discussions without ever being confrontative with anyone. I think is amazing in its own way, and you're doing a wonderful job. So keep it up.
Thank you so much, Arindam. This is inspiring. So let's get started with your story. So let me ask you my favorite first question. Where do you think your story started? Let's begin.
Well, my story started way back in, I think, 2007. If you really ask me, a true transformation. In 2007, we were expecting our child, right?
Mm-hmm.
And when I was thinking about, and I have this tendency to think about one day ahead. I'm not futuristic enough like Elon Musk to think about 100 years ahead. I definitely can try to think about one day ahead. And then I realized that when my child is born, there are many things that we have to do, which probably we're not doing now. And the first thing that came to my mind is I have to step out of the house at odd hours to probably buy diapers. And that is
Mm-hmm.
the thing which got me started. Why isn't there any platform to actually just go and order diapers and it gets delivered to you, whatever happens? And you won't believe this, Alok, but the interesting thing was I actually created a complete business plan on
Okay.
children's products. It was all ready, what technology, what platform, and I'm talking about 2007, so there was not much of a cloud thing at that point of time. So
Mm-hmm.
my biggest worry was, would I have the money to invest in the infrastructure? I did not know that there'll be so many other worries that come as part of the entrepreneurial journey. But this question stuck me primarily because I had worked in Intel before and I was working in HP at the time, and so technology infrastructure was the only question that came to my mind. But I had a
Yeah.
complete business plan. Unfortunately or fortunately, what really happened was I couldn't follow through on that one because we had this worry in our family that if I had to quit my job to start my entrepreneurial venture in that year when my son was or daughter was expected to be born, we had a situation where we may not have financial stability. So we actually gave
Yeah.
up that dream and we said, okay, we'll park it for now. And so we parked it for 4 more years till my son was approximately 3, 4 years old. And that's when again in 2011 I decided, all right, I'm currently heading HP's financial service business. I worked up, quite a few years in the industry. I think this is the right time for me to step out. And I think that stepping out created this entire journey in my life, which has been very different from the journey I had in the past.
Wow, this is so transformative to know why. Because see, Arindam, these are the moments of life when these ideas come to our mind, and there's so many things that will hold you back. Now, I relate a lot with this story. Why? Because when I made my jump, when I made my transformation from being a salesperson, and I was selling IT infrastructure, by the way, I was selling for HP through a partner. And when I made my transformation, that was the year my daughter was expected. And a lot of well-wishers told me, Alu, this is the most stupid time for you to do something like this.
Yeah, yeah.
Matlab, who does it this way? You need assurance and certainty, and you are leaving an 8 years old career where you have come, you have built something for you, and people know you in certain way. Now you're going like a fresher to a remote place in somewhere in Singapore to learn like an intern. Are you out of your mind? And I was, I think, but I think everything happens for a reason. But these things are transformative, and you transform when things like that happen. So, with so much experience being in Intel and being in HP, how this whole experience of setting up something on your own started? I want to know those nuggets of startup entrepreneur from you.
So when I was heading HP Financial Services, we realized that a lot of startups at that point of time, this was the year 2011,
Hmm.
2010, 2011, a lot of startups in Bangalore, where I'm based out of, definitely had a big issue in terms of hiring talent, and as we know, the technology quotient of startups is extremely high, and
Hmm.
we sense there's an opportunity there, and that's the reason why I realized that that is something also I love to crack as a problem. As I said, I always try to see if there is one day ahead in my life that I can see, and I could definitely see that there is a potential in terms of wanting to do something to be able to solve a real world problem, and that's when we started our first venture. We wanted to build a technology platform for easing the recruitment process, and so we planned to build a recruitment automation platform which was more Indian in nature, because of
Hmm.
course there were quite a few technology platforms for recruitment globally, but I don't think at that point of time there was anything that could kind of capture the issues that we face, from a cultural perspective as a country. One
Hmm.
example that I can give you was that we often are very ineffective in saying no, right? Now, maybe that's a cultural aspect ingrained in us, so we built a
Hmm.
platform that actually could help organizations, even if there is a no which is unsaid, in terms of a recruitment situation. For example, you have decided not to go to an interview for some reason, right?
Hmm.
But you can't say no, right? Now, how does the organization, which has actually by that time spent a lot of their resources in ensuring that the hiring manager's calendar is blocked,
Hmm.
know in advance that this candidate is not going to turn up? And some
Hmm.
of, I mean, there are many such examples. I just decided to pick up one. So we built a platform which can facilitate something like that, right?
Wow.
So that is the journey that we had in terms of being able to build something, and that is where we started.
Wow, I think it's really solving a very very important problem in the market, and I think this is the beauty of entrepreneurship, that we are out there to solve some real problems, and we realize those problems when we are working or we are living life in general, and we see this thing is not getting addressed, and we pick that up and we build something on it. So, Arindam, with so many transformations in your life, as I can clearly see, where do you put which one you say is the biggest transformation ever, the biggest learning or transformation which you ever had?
Well, so in we had the platform ready, everything was built. This was December 2019. We
Hmm.
we launched the platform Expedite, and then Jan Feb we had a pretty good decent funnel of potential customers that were going to probably become our subscribers. But then COVID happened, right?
Oh.
COVID happened in March 2020, and I guess all of a sudden, like many others in the world, even our world collapsed. You see, being in
Hmm.
recruitment, when all organizations practically overnight froze all their positions, uh, you know, companies literally started, in many occasions, if they could not sustain, letting go of people, the question of recruiting new people doesn't arise. And that is a
Hmm.
time when, for a few days time stood still for us. We really didn't know what to do. We were like dead fish in a pond, thinking about, okay, now that we are faced with this immense problem, where do you go from here? And whatever we did from that point onwards is, I think, what in the last so many years of my life would have been probably a really true transformative journey that we had from, say, April 2020 till I'm talking to you now.
Wow. And Arindam, I can I can feel this energy from your side that what what could you experience when things which you were working on for such a long time is about to launch and you're expecting customers, you're expecting numbers, suddenly you see it crumbling down. I've seen it closely. I'm in the learning and development market, and everything we were doing till February 2020 was around people coming together and we doing facilitation and engaging them in team building, leadership, innovation, all kind of things. People coming together stopped. You can't come together, you can't come to a place. What would the industry do? From I was with Focus U at that time, and from 60 workshops in a month we came to zero workshop in the month of March. Now you have bills to pay, you have salaries to pay, you have a lot of stuff around you, and it gets tough. But how was that phase of your life when not
Well,
working?
that phase of my life was, I mean, I guess the easiest word to use was very dark and discouraging, right? Uh, as I said, we were pretty clueless, in for a couple of days as to what to do. But I think one of the things that I have seen about a lot of people that I have a lot of respect for is they don't allow situations to get better than you. We said, okay, we need to, there's a problem, we need to
Hmm.
come out of it. And that is when we actually came out of our shell, and then we started looking at the world around us. And then we said, okay, what has changed,
Hmm.
and what has changed that we could probably work on that would be able to solve some of the problems that will be there. As I said, I look one day
Yeah,
ahead. So what are the problems that will be there tomorrow as a result of what is happening today, right?
absolutely.
Now, as you know, travel was restricted, so you couldn't go out and shop. So all shops were
Hmm.
closed, and Bangalore was completely barricaded at that time. In case many people who are not from Bangalore, maybe other places I don't know of, but I've seen it here. The roads were completely empty, and you'll be surprised to know that one day I said, okay, I had this adventurous spirit, so my car needed to be run a little bit. I decided to take the car out of the
Hmm.
parking, and I went on a road where I spend normally 20 minutes waiting for to
Yeah.
change. Took me less than 20 seconds to cross.
Bangalore traffic.
There was nobody around. Everything was
Yeah.
barricaded. I somehow managed to reach my office. Then I realized that the return path of the journey was blocked.
Oh.
So I actually had to think, how do I now come back home
Hmm.
now that I've reached office? But the interesting thing was that everything was shut down, everything was closed. There was not a single soul on the
Hmm.
road. There was not a single soul in any of the
Hmm.
shops. And I came back and I told my better half that, look, I think there's an opportunity for us, but I need to think a little bit
Hmm.
more. And then we decided, and I think that is the day when we decided, okay, let's see what kind of problem that we can solve if even half of this situation persists going
Hmm.
forward.
Okay.
And that is the time when we put our thoughts together and realized that two things are definitely not happening. Number one, even if this problem gets solved after some point
Hmm.
of time, COVID gets over, there'll be still a lot of I guess people worried about flocking together to shops in a
They
big
are.
way, and hence brands which really literally try to provide that kind of interface to their shoppers, is not going to happen. So what do you do about
Hmm.
that? And since people were not getting together, right, as you rightly said, what happens to companies which are focused on prospective business to business customers? So we started looking at both of these options, the business to consumer companies, and the
Hmm.
business to business companies. And we said, what is that one thing that we can build
Okay.
which we can actually use in a post-COVID world as well? And I think that is where Eventscape was born.
Wow, wow. I guess Arindam, I can see that spirit, and that's powerful and that's enabling. And I have, it's not that I find it right now. I have met a lot of entrepreneurs in this last 8, 9 months, and I got a chance to speak to a lot of them. And I really find some of them uh, are uh, are a little different from the league, and they have taken this as an opportunity instead of pulling them down, and they have decided to rise above what was happening around them and see what can we do about it. And it's not about entrepreneurs, it's about all of us. I think all of us get stranded into situations like this, that whatever we were working on is not there anymore, or it's not very progressive in nature. So what should we do? And that's when the new ideas take birth. I think there's a quote that necessity is the mother of invention.
Absolutely, absolutely, yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
and I think it was happening to us, to you as well. So tell us about a little bit about this Eventscape. What does it do, and what problem you're trying to solve with this?
See, the problem that we are trying to solve with Eventscape is how do we, connect organizations with their customers, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now there are of course different mediums to do that, right? The
Right.
only challenge with most of these mediums is that it is not a two-way conversation, right?
Mm.
If you take any medium today, take television as a medium, it is completely one way. Take newspaper as a medium, it is completely one way, right? Now take social as a medium. Of course, it is
Mm.
to some extent it is two-way, right? It is not completely two-way, but it is to some extent two-way, right?
Yes.
But
Yeah.
the interesting thing is, as consumers, we crave for real experiences, real live experiences, right? More than
Yeah.
recorded experiences, right? If I were to watch, for example, a Michael Jackson show, I would have a very
Mm.
different experience than probably, switching it on and watching a video of it, right?
Yeah.
So the experience of going to a stadium to watch a match is very different from probably watching it on TV, and that is very different from watching it on a rerun on TV later, right? So
Absolutely.
you can cadence your experiences in different ways. One is absolutely live, right, in
Mm.
front when it is happening. Second is when it is live but you're watching via a certain media, right? And the
Mm-hmm.
third is when it is not live and it is recorded, right? Now, if you break up this market into if you really look at a consumer experience from this perspective, you will see that since the first part of it is when you can go to a physical gathering, let's say a Michael Jackson show as an example,
Yeah.
or to
Mm-hmm.
a brand promoted event, right?
Mm-hmm.
You would have loved it, but that possibility is a little less, number one.
Yep.
Plus the return on investment for a brand to do something like that is also a little limited, right? So what is the next best alternative? The next best
Mm.
alternative is what we are trying to build. How do you create a virtual events environment which is extremely easy, extremely user friendly, and which
Mm-hmm.
brands and organizations can use to bridge themselves with their customers and consumers in a massive way, because digital gives you the necessary leverage to tap into anybody at any corner of the world. So just
Mm.
imagine, my sister stays in Australia, right? And Australians by nature are also a very fun loving people, right? They're also very rich in their heritage, right? So if we were to be able to promote, let's say, some folk singers from India
Mm.
participating, and the audience is located in Australia, you have actually bridged a huge gap,
Yep.
right? The recognition for these people here and the fact that you have a paying audience somewhere else. Now, these are of
Mm.
course things that are possible in a virtual world, definitely not possible in a physical world, even if there
Yes.
is no COVID problem.
Absolutely. And Arindam, I was just thinking about my situation when you were talking about gathering. I have loved gatherings. This is what I've been doing from last 10 years. And then especially the other side of it, which is brand related, which is exhibitions. I just love them. In fact, I have traveled to a couple of countries just because I wanted to participate in a particular exhibition. And the attraction was exhibitions, for that matter, open up different kind of boundaries in front of you. They let you meet in person to people who you probably will never get access to. They would not even come to your LinkedIn circle because they're out of your third level. There is a chance to come across those people and learn from them and explore them. And I think a platform like this, where diversified groups can come together and I think communicate, that's more important. One way monologue is always there, and there are a lot of things. I can make a YouTube channel and connect. But when they communicate in certain way, I think that's powerful. That's enabling.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah. So see, on an everyday basis, organizations and brands need to communicate with their customers, with their partners, with their members, with their employees, right? So you're clearly looking at different types of communities that you can
Hmm.
build. You can build a customer community. You can build a customer community which is even segmented, right? Can be based on multiple criterias because digital gives you the option to do that kind of segmentation, right? And on the
Yes.
other side, from an organization's perspective, you will have people from sales, from marketing, from corporate communications, from HR, who need to drive these kind of events on a regular basis. Ultimately, even if you look at it this way, customer engagement, partner engagement, employee engagement are very, very necessary today when your customers, partners, members, employees are all scattered, right? It was probably a little easier when they were all together in one place, but if it is not possible, then what do you do? And even later, when probably the pandemic problem goes away, right? The return on investment for organizations to be able to do these kind of get-togethers, right, in a physical
Yes.
format is going to be far more prohibitively expensive compared to doing it in a virtual way. So whichever way you look at it, I think a platform that enables individuals to connect with other individuals in a two-way manner, organizations to connect with their communities in a two-way manner is something that is going to thrive, is the belief that we had, and I think it is playing on very well. We see a lot
Yeah.
of potential prospective companies. We are talking to them on a regular basis now. I literally have
Hmm.
3 to 4 demos every day, and we are at
Wow.
different stages in terms of trying to understand their problems and trying to solve their problems for us. In fact, very interestingly, yesterday I had a demo with the head of marketing of a very well-known online jewelry brand, and he
Okay.
said, wow, this kind of platform would be very useful for even, let's say, creative agencies like Dentsu, because
Hmm.
for them it is another digital medium to create amazing stuff for the brands that they manage on behalf of their customers, right?
Okay.
So these are all the interesting use cases that keep coming up, which probably we didn't think before. You know, there was
Yeah.
another demo, I think a couple of days before that, where somebody said we do
Hmm.
these physical store openings, right? And we
Hmm.
actually don't know if there is a way can leverage those kind of store openings and inform people in the locality where it is opened that hey, this is a new store that has come up. Now if we can kind of
Yes.
use that as a store opening event and broadcast it and say that okay, we are going to have a store opening at this point of time, if you guys were interested, you can come and you can see what we are doing. And that's a great way for brands to
Hmm.
reach out to their customer base in that place, right? Because the stores
Yes.
are.
You know what, Arindam, it is evolution, What happens when, I feel it's very evolutionary because when you stop something and then people are not, people are stranded what to do, then they start thinking ki, what are the things can happen in a new way.
Absolutely.
One day in our history, hunting reduced in number and farming started. Somebody would have started with a potato, I don't know, and then somebody said, hey, can I grow wheat, can I grow pulses, can I grow this, and the variety increased and we have an array of things today on our table. So same ways, virtual was there for a limited amount of people doing in a limited kind of thing. Now everybody will try to think that, can I leverage it, can I leverage into something beyond this one, and opening the store thing is just one part of it. Maybe there are more people who are still wondering ki kya kare, where is my customer, how can I connect with them, how do I really build that brand and that bonding with each other. See, I personally feel, okay, I don't watch television by the way, and I personally feel that even those who watch television change the channels when the television advertisement TVCs come most of the time. So things are changing. People are not. You can't give them anything just like that and they will accept it. You need to engage with them and take it to the next level for them to really vibe with your brand. And I think that is so important. And a lot of people are realizing this. So I think you're helping it there as well. I have one very interesting question, Arindam. Because I'm generally very curious for these tech platforms. I have been living my life from last 7, 8 months doing virtual facilitation, and I need to engage with my audience. So I keep exploring. So I went to your website when I was researching about you. And one thing I found very different in the pricing section is that while most of the other people in the market who are there are having subscription based plans, you kept it event wise plan. And what was the thought behind it? I found it attractive because I can spend little amount of money. If I don't have a lot of funding with me, I can just do an event and I'm good with it. So what was your thought process behind something like changing a complete order of pricing in this?
Well, that is a very interesting thing that you asked me, because we kind of deliberated on, ours is a SaaS platform. Now, if you take 99.99% of SaaS platforms, they're all based on a monthly or a quarterly or an annual subscription, right?
Yeah,
Now,
right.
the only issue is that the platform that we built is for virtual events. Now, events do not happen every day in your life, right? Events happen
Hmm.
occasionally, right? Now, you can
Hmm.
have a month where there could be 10 events. Uh, I will give you some personal examples. Let's say my
Hmm.
birthday falls in the month of October, my wife's birthday falls
Okay.
in the month of November, and my son's birthday falls in the month of December. Our marriage anniversary falls in the month of February, right? So let us say
Hmm.
that I am going to use, as a very very wild use case, Eventscape for those 4 days, you know, to reach out to my family, right? Now,
Hmm.
I don't need to actually have a monthly subscription for all 12 months to do that. I have 4 events in my
Absolutely.
life. I will do those 4 events, Whereas if you are tied down to to a monthly subscription, you will actually be wondering, what event do I do? And then the quality of those events will then not be up to standard. Please keep in mind that
Probably.
companies don't do product launches every day. They do a product launch when
Hmm.
it is required to be done, right? They don't
Yes.
do store openings every day, right? They don't do large mega conferences every month. They do it only probably when it is required. They don't do, their employee quarterly business meets, right?
Hmm.
They do it only when in every quarter, I guess, right? All of these are
Okay.
events. So the most important thing that I think we did on the pricing thing was created a plan that would be very much in line with the
Hmm.
product, or the problem that we're with the product and the problem we're trying to solve. The problem we're trying to
Hmm.
solve is, how do individuals through events reach out to others, or how do companies and brands through events reach out to others in building two-way communication, right? Ours is
Yeah.
not a meeting platform where you pick up you pick up any of the video conferencing tools, and you can get on a meeting with someone, right? Ours is a very
Hmm.
event focused platform, and to that extent events are very discrete things. They are not a continuous thing.
Yes. Yes, yes. I think you are really addressing a need of the market, and I know a lot of colleagues in the event world because I've been working with them would love it because this is what was frustrating. Even if you want to use it for the next month and you don't have an event right now, bills are coming and you have to pay that. Because I'm telling you because I have felt it. I took a subscription and I wanted to record. In fact, these sessions which I'm recording right now, I wanted to record them inside that software tool. And there was one month where I was really busy in workshops and no recording happened. And I had a 5 hours recording available. Now, when I was paying those $40, it was hurting me that, oh my God, I've done nothing. So I felt at loss. But I think what you're doing is really solving that, really, really solving that problem. Amazing, Anindam.
Yeah, and we also,
So,
as
yeah.
at a personal level, my co-founder and me, we don't like people, feeling that they lost out on something. Like you said, you lost out on
Hmm.
$40, right? Now, whether it's $40
Yeah.
or $4 or $400, why should anybody spend if it is not required? So actually, there was one more
Yes.
step that we did. We thought, would be useful. You see, whenever you have something that you have paid for, if it does not get rolled
Hmm.
over for your use, that's a waste. So what we did is, since it's an
Yes.
events platform, and one of the parameters for our cost is basically the number of attendees that are coming into that virtual event. What we did was we said, okay, you are expecting 200 attendees, go ahead and take an additional 200 attendees pack, let's say. But in case the number of attendees are less, whatever actual number of attendees that didn't turn up, we will automatically credit to your next event. So you'll never ever face a situation where you felt you lost out on something.
Arindam, I think you're disrupting the market with this. This is not there in, I think, any other subscription-based or otherwise product-based models as well. But I think it is of a lot of advantage to the users, and I think this is service. This is a service which you're bringing for people not to feel, at a loss. And I think it's important. Why it's important? Because the post-COVID times, out of anything else, have really taught us to be frugal. We has taught us to use what is available to us. I think most of us have learned the lesson of not overspending now, and a lot of correction has already happened. So it is in alignment to the mindset which is already rolling in the world. So I think that's a great service, Arindam. Great. So Arindam, I think we had a wonderful conversation. I would bring it to an end, but before that, I would really want to know from you, if somebody wants to follow you, know you, or follow your Eventscape, what is the best way to reach out?
Well, they can just go to Eventscape and sign up, see if it makes sense for them to run a virtual event. In case they want to, contact me, my numbers are there on Eventscape as well. My colleagues' numbers are there as well. Email addresses are there.
Okay.
They can easily reach out to us, and we'll love to have a conversation with them to see if we can help them in bridging the gap between them and the communities that they are trying to build.
Wow, that's amazing, Arindam. I think, guys, I would share the links down below in the comment section. Do go and check it out. And I think when something so amazing is built for us, those who are in this market, who are really giving these kind of services, those community builders, those people who are offering art and different form of talent, I think they all will be benefited from them. Thank you so much, Arindam, for taking out time from a busy schedule for this conversation. I loved every bit of it. Thanks a lot for joining.
Thank you, Alok, for inviting me. Have a good day.